name is Christina Carlson. I work at Union Studio Architecture and Community Design, so architect, and I've been with the ACE program for 5 years now. I'm very excited to be returning back this year to work with some of our returning students. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the programs. This is a little bit of an advertisement as well for those of you students who just joined ACE for the first time this year. We have something new and different in store for you if you'd like to come back in the fall. And some of these students have been in the program for 2 to 3 and even 4 years. Everybody's been shown a slideshow and some videos of all the first year projects, the hostel towers and little city projects and team building, and all these great things that you've been doing. Well, if you come back for the next year, what we offer you is an opportunity to explore the ACE fields that you're interested in a little bit deeper. And we do that through a year-long design project. This project is sponsored by the Construction Industry Roundtable, which is a national organization, and it's a competition among all ACE affiliates. Last year, out of 43 entries, our Northern Rhode Island affiliate team came in as a third-place finalist. So we were really excited about that, and we're hoping for good news as well this year from our 2 teams. We have one from Providence and one from Northern Rhode Island again. So you'll see 2 different projects presented. With this competition, the teams have 3 choices of what they want to study. So you can see here the 3 options. The first is library relevance. The heart of that problem is to think about what a library is in the modern age. Libraries are no longer stacks and stacks of dusty books that we think about. They're really places of technology and community. So students are asked to retrofit an existing library and incorporate new design technologies into that proposal. Another option is defined by architecture, which is challenging students to really look at their community, their cities, and what defines the character of that place. And we're all familiar with those favorite places that are really iconic, the New Orleans, the Paris skyline, New York City. And so to think of Providence or Northern Rhode Island and what makes these places special and how we can build on those characteristics. And the third option was universal design retrofit. This project is a little more personal because it challenges the students to find somebody in the community who would like to stay in their home as they age and think about adapting that home for aging in place and allowing ADA accessibility and some other issues that come out of that. So tonight you're going to see student responses to 2 of these challenges. So first, the team that I worked with from Providence, Rhode Island, I'd like to introduce my co-mentor, Kevin Champagne of the Park Corporation.
Thanks, Christina. As Christina mentioned, my name is Kevin Champagne. I'm a structural engineer with Park Corporation. I had the privilege of joining up with these returning students halfway through this year, and while I only worked with them for half the year, I can tell you that these guys are very, very dedicated, very hardworking. We met every week to talk about this project, sometimes multiple times a week, school vacation week, so they're very proud of what they're going to present and a lot of hard work. Just to introduce the team, Yoel, Elijah, Jackie, Tristan, Justin, and Phil. And I'll turn it over to Yoel to kind of walk you through the project.
So hi, my name is Yoel and so we decided to choose the Library Relevance Challenge due to that libraries are evolving, they're changing. But we feel like they're changing in more of the technology aspect of things. So we really want to focus on providing a space that's both inviting and allows the public to interact with it. We decided to go with the Providence downtown library due to its key location. It's surrounded by a dense community and it's accessible to many. So here I'm going to pass it on to Elijah so he can elaborate more on that.
So as you can see on the PowerPoint, this bird's eye view will show you that the library has a very central location in Providence. There are 8 bus stops within 2 blocks of the library and 10 high schools in Providence itself. So as you can see, there's a way for a lot of people to get to the library. But there's been a problem lately. A lot of people haven't been visiting the library, and we think that the problem was because of the appearance. So I'm going to pass it off to Jackie so she can explain our process in enhancing the appearance of the library.
So once we picked that we were going to do the Library Relevance Challenge, we had to start brainstorming. We started very basic with whatever we could think of, really. We came up with like a giant slide, fitness classes, 3D printer, and all kinds of different stuff. And then we started honing in on what ideas we really wanted to focus on. So we had an architect who worked on the Tiverton Library come and visit us and tell us about their design process for building a new library. And one of the key elements was that they designed the library more like a bookstore, where you display the books instead of having large stacks, and you have more gathering centers for people to talk. So we decided we really wanted to go along that route. So we defined the library as a public place where people can gather to gain technology opportunities, knowledge, and social interactions. Here are a couple of different pictures of things we used in the brainstorming process to look at existing libraries. On the far left, there's a picture of the RISD library, which we went and visited. There's also pictures of just a normal office stack of computers, and then next to it is a picture of more varying shapes of how computers can be set up so that it's not so much like an office, more of a gathering experience. We also decided a key element of this project is going to be community input. So we wanted to know what Providence wants in their library. So we set up a student survey inside the library, and we found out that 100% of the people who responded, and we gave these to library patrons and employees. 100% of people wanted to improve the computer room. 62% said that the option to take out Kindles or ebooks would be nice. And only 20% of people said that they use the library for social interactions and meeting with friends. So obviously, we want to work on the technical aspect because so many people want to improve the technology, but a large portion of our library definition is community. So we need to increase the amount of people that want to come to the library for social interactions. So to tell you about our improvements is Tristan.
All right, so when we first got the idea down, we took apart what the old library looked like and what it could be. And basically, you know, at night or at any time of day, Providence Library doesn't really stand out as much as it should be. You can see it's kind of too dark and there's too much concrete, so it's not as outstanding as other library buildings in Providence itself. So what we did was we researched all the way to the top right. You can see it's kind of like luminescent lights on the outside of the library, and we decided to add that to ours to make it more inviting, you know, because if you're middle of the night in Prov, you won't really see the library, but with this you can. And along with that, there was another problem we ran into, and that was people ages 5 to 18, their rooms were like mixed together, and we wanted to separate it because there's a huge age difference between if you were 5 or even if you were 17 or 18. So teenagers should have more technology, and young children should have more creative space for arts and crafts, stuff like that. So the solution was a redesigned teen center, and along with that, you can't see it's kind of blocked down the bottom. But we kind of took the old technology and improved it and made like media centers for the kids and stuff, as you can see from the pictures below. Then improvements as well. We took something like on the left, basically, you know, open spaces where they're not used, and along with that, racks of books and stuff. And we basically changed it into something like on the right-hand side, which is more inviting, more casual. You know, you actually would want to be there rather than not. And we just improved on that. And to passing off to Justin just to talk more about it.
So while we looked for ways to make the library more appealing to the community, we also looked for ways that we can make the building more of a green building. And by doing this, to do this, we looked for ideas by looking at LEED requirements. And here are some of the ideas and additions that we use that could earn us and our building LEED credits. These include things such as bike racks, which promote local travel and reduce the overall amount of gas that would be used to travel across the library. We also added a rain garden, which reduces the amount of water that will be flowing into the sewers. A gray water collector on the roof, which brings available water to the library to use in toilets. Solar panels on the roof, which allows the library to use some of its energy instead of buying it from other corporations. Occupancy sensors, which reduce the amount of energy used to light rooms that are not being used at the time. And we purposely left the library, the existing library, untouched because of most of its architectural beauty and because it reduced the use of new materials. And now we will go to Phil for technological advances.
So some technological advances that we used were incorporating ebooks such as Nooks and Kindles that would decrease the amount of books found throughout the library, allowing for more storage and more space used by other people. We also decided to incorporate things like 3D printers, which would allow for a course, because at the library they have certain courses that people can take and pay for, which would increase the revenue of the library. The printers could also be used to print foods, because as you may have heard from the news, some 3D printers can actually print foods, which could be used in a cafe that would be incorporated near the front of the library. We also incorporated things like the RFID system, which was the radio frequency identification tags, which would prevent people from stealing these systems and would keep all the systems in check, as well as we incorporated other types of technology. And now to pass it on to Elijah, who will talk about the site plan. Who will talk about the cost estimation.
So by the end of the project, we had renovated 5 rooms and added multiple green appliances. These things together gave us a cost estimation of about $1.7 million. And I will give it right back to Phil to walk you through the 3D models.
So as you can tell, this 3D model is of the computer lab. We decided to incorporate more computers and get rid of a media lab that was currently there. We decided to place backing shelves to incorporate some of the media, as well as nooks and ebooks that could replace some books. With that, we also incorporated some group spaces, as you can tell from the back and the front and along the sides of the building, to incorporate people who were working in group projects and allowed for a more homey environment, as well as we incorporated the green aspect by adding some plants so that it would bring a much more earthy feel. And now to Yoel, who will talk about the interior.
So the picture you're seeing here is of our team room. As you can see, this is the large furnished chamber here is the central seating pavilion. This has stadium seating to allow students to study or hang out. It has also study booths on the side. It also consists of a video game room in the center to allow, because libraries, they want to attract more people, and video games are something that's popular. What we wanted to do with the space is we wanted to allow the space to be more like a bookstore feeling, so you don't feel like you're forced to go there, but allows you to be relaxed and learn. What's intended to be with the place is, for the space is to be a public resource of knowledge where a community gathers for pleasures and which amplifies innovation, education, and creativity, and those who are present. And thank you for your time.